Tony Morwood.
Good evening and welcome to our coverage of the National Basketball League competition. Tonight we bring you the match between the Adelaide 36ers and the Perth Wildcats. The Wildcats will find it hard going tonight without the talents of sacked American player Roland Brooks. And coach Jay Bremer will be relying heavily on the skills of Alan Black to hold the 36ers at bay. Mike Ellis is a big threat from outside the three-point line, and man-mounted Big Dan Clawson's clash with Mark Davis should be one of the highlights of the game. The West End 36ers, Mike Mackay is in sensational form, and we look forward with great interest to Dwayne Nelson's debut in his first NBL game. Darryl Pearce is missing from the lineup because of his commitment to the Australian team in Spain for the World Championships. The 36ers are expected to win this game, but will certainly be in for some exciting basketball. We now take you to Apollo Stadium. Your commentators are Andrew Kay and Lynn Parnell.
So it's the West End 36ers in the white uniforms against the Perth Wildcats, who come away with possession of the ball through Mike Ellis. And this game is a repeat of a game that was played some 4 weeks ago in Perth when the Adelaide 36ers won quite comfortably. And here we go again in the Apollo tonight with a home court advantage. What's going to happen tonight, Andrew Kay?
Well, one would think it should be a 36ers victory as a pass from Al Green for Mark Davis for the first score of the match. And I've got a feeling that tonight we could see one hell of a ball game, but only by the West End 36ers, Len.
Yes, I tend to agree. The Perth Wildcats are without Roland Brooks, who has been one of their prolific scorers. In fact, scored 51 points against the 36ers this time last year. And without him, he's been sacked from the team for off-court demeanour, allegedly. And without him, they seem to now lack the firing power that we've come to expect from the Perth teams in the past.
Second shot made by Mark Davis, but misses in the meantime. The foul is called. It's an edging out foul by the Perth side. Ray Wood will take the ball from the sidelines. Raymond Wood only needs 10 points to bring up 2,000 in NBL basketball. He's been after those points for a few weeks now as Al Green goes to drive all the way. The hook shot misses, but Green comes out with the rebound. He's got to beat Clawson, but doesn't. Al Green still in there fighting. Third foul makes it. What a great personal individual effort from Al Green, Lynn.
Oh, that's a superb effort. He's underneath there with all the big timber. Alan Black did quite a good job on defence to stop Al going all the way on that drive, but then Green was prepared to compete underneath, chased the ball 2 or 3 times, and he scored and got the reward as a result.
And immediately in defence, you see Green doing the same good work. But now it's Perth trying to set something up. 4-0, they trail. Just a minute and a half into the game as the foul is called on Dwayne Nelson. Surprised to see him in the starting 5 tonight, Lee.
Well, Dwayne Nelson has been playing very well, scored 31 points in the local competition the other night, and has been training very well, got the statistics on the board. He's come in, as has Ray Wood. Ray Wood come into the first 5 for the first time in a long time, with Darryl Pearce being away at the World Series, and that's given Raymond Wood the opportunity to come in. He only needs 10 points to reach the 2,000 points milestone, which is a tremendous show of his ability in the NBL.
Well, the 36ers take the ball after a travel was called on Mike Ellis, and now it's Ray Wood into Jones, back to Ray Wood. Will this be 2 of the 10 he needs? No, it won't. The ball seemed to come off Mark Davis's hand and go out of court. It's the last time these two sides met, Lynn. The 36ers beat Perth in Perth by 32 points. The two sides have met 9 times in National Basketball League history, and the 36ers have a 6-3 advantage. Will it be 7-3 tonight? Clawson, former Adelaide player. This time a drive all the way from Ellis, but he doesn't make the basket, and once again it's Davis with the rebound. Now it's 2-on-2. Green trying to go all the way. The score doesn't count as referee John Beams calls a charging foul.
Now this is good offensive movement by Green. He goes all the way. Also quite good defence by Black. Black sort of just posted up for that second. You could see there that he just leant in on Green, and the foul was called as a result. But it's back live, and there's Dwayne Nelson under the basket. big rebounding duels will be a feature of this game because Clawson is just a magnificent rebounder.
Well, that was more like wet weather football stuff, Lynn, with the whole three of the rebounders going up in there, Jones, Davis and Nelson. Al Green attempts a three-pointer and makes it. What a top shot from Al Green. So the 36ers race away early. They lead 7-0.
And here's Black. I think the Wildcats will probably try and play through their guards a lot, and the guards will attempt to get their defensive people out of position and then drive all the way to the basket. And there's a three-point attempt there made by Torrance. So that takes the Wildcats along to their first score, 3 points, and they're trailing the 36ers on 7. Is Al Green up for the three-pointer? Great rebound there by Jones. Unlucky to have a foot over the baseline.
Yes, only just good work there by Bill Jones. So once again now it's Perth with possession. Perth have only won 5 games in the NBL season this year, as the foul is called on Bill Jones, and Dan Clawson, the former Adelaide player, makes an easy basket.
Great move by Black. He, as you see, he drives in underneath and the defence comes to him. He hands off. Clawson throws the feint underneath the basket to make the defensive person jump. And, of course, it's really difficult to get a hand on the ball when you're in the air. And 9 times out of 10, there will be a foul. Successful with the foul shot, takes the Wildcats along to 6.
Clawson, a very popular player here in Adelaide, played here for a number of seasons, chose to go to Perth. And now it's Ray Wood in the starting 5 for the West End 36ers. Gives it off to Green, number 15. Now it's Nelson with the ball. And the foul called now on Alan Black, just got the arms into the back of Al Green. So the 36ers will take possession from the side.
Yeah, Black is always going to play very close to Green. In fact, he's a very aggressive player, as I mentioned earlier. I think he's a bit unlucky to be caught up on that foul that time. And one thing that we're going to see tonight, Andrew, is a bit of a show from both coaches. Both Ken Cole for the 36ers and Jay Bremer from the Perth Wildcats are very flamboyant people, and I think a lot of the entertainment is going to come from watching what happens on the bench.
Yes, there's more than just basketball played between these two sides in years gone by. Of course, in the last game of the year, last year, the 36ers coach Ken Cole incurred a $1,000 fine for comments made. This time the foul is called on the West End 36ers. The basket scores, and Alan Black will go to the foul line for the bonus.
So the Wildcats hit the lead with 7 minutes and 53 seconds remaining until the quarter-time break, as Alan Black makes good his foul shot to take his team along to 9 points, leading the 36ers on 7.
Well, it's a quick change turnaround in the game, Lynn. 36ers had 7 points on the board before Perth had scored, and now Perth leads 9-7.
We can't underestimate this Perth team. They're very much a team that'll get up and hustle on defence. But when you talk about hustle on defence, there's that man Ray Wood. He picked up the steal and threw the ball underneath to Dwayne Nelson all alone for 2 points, so the scores are tied.
So Nelson didn't let him down, but now it's Perth again trying to set something up through Torrance, but he loses the ball to Al Green. Yes, no, umpire calls a jump ball.
Sixers against Trevor Torrance. Al Green, a fantastic athlete, tremendous leap, and as you can see, he outleapt the Perth player on that occasion, even though he was giving away inches. But because the ball has come off of 36's hands into the out of bounds, the Wildcats regain possession.
Once again, it's Ellis now, looking to set it up, looking for someone to give it to. Closely guarded by Al Green. Good work, gets it off to Torrance. Torrance, poor shot and misses. 3-on-2 developing, 4-on-2. Green could have got pinged for carrying the ball there, but didn't. So Ray Wood brings it back outside the key again to set it up. It's been a good opening, another capacity crowd, some 3,200 people here at the Apollo tonight, and hopefully looking forward to a top game. The 10-second warning shot goes. Ray Wood attempts the shot and makes the big three-pointer. So the West End 36ers move to 12, leading Perth 9.
And Ray Wood only now needing 7 points to reach that milestone of 2,000 points in the NBL, as Black from outside. Good rebound by Davis. And 36ers now all looking for their fast break as Green goes in underneath. And the fast break, of course, is as you saw then, when the defensive rebound was pulled down, quickly down the court to give Green the chance to go all the way to the basket. The defence is running back, not quite in position, and of course they foul Green there, and he's able to take the shots from the foul line.
Well, Al Green on the foul line now for the West End 36ers. They lead 12-9. What will he do with the first one? Makes no mistake with the first one. 6 minutes and 18 seconds left in the first quarter.
And the 36ers deriving their name from the year that Adelaide and the state of South Australia was founded in 1836. Rather than going for the traditional name of a bird or an animal, they choose the year that South Australia was founded, in 1836. As the Perth Wildcats into offence, Dan Clawson's been fairly quiet today, Andrew. Hasn't seen a lot of the ball.
Yes, in fact, has only scored once, but this time has an opportunity to do it again. Misses with the shot, though. And the ball just thumped out by Mark Davis, so it's 3-on-3. Green gets the pass away to Nelson, doesn't know what to do with it, and decides to put it in the basket. Slightly off balance, Dwayne Nelson, but had the desired result, so the 36ers skip away again. They now lead 16-9.
And all of a sudden you can see the change in the game. In the last couple of minutes, the 36ers have been grabbing good defensive rebounds, throwing the ball down the court very quickly on that fast break, and the 36ers, through Al Green in particular, are able to create. And here it is again, the ball being advanced down the court very quickly as Green just hands off to Mark Davis, who just wanders down underneath.
They just had so much time to do that, Lynn. There was never any doubt, even though Green firstly didn't take the ball all that cleanly, and then Davis didn't take it all that cleanly, but they were still in control and just put it away. And now they double the Perth Wildcats score 18-9.
Ken Cole would be very pleased with the way that the 36ers are getting onto the defensive boards and then very quickly throwing the outlet pass down the floor. And Al Green is so quick that he's receiving the ball at about the centre line, advancing the ball down the court very quickly, which is putting a lot of pressure on the Wildcats defence.
Well, the Perth Wildcats creep 3 points closer after that good shot from Alan Black. But now it's back with the West End 36ers as Davis attempts to drive and makes no mistake. I think one of the big deciding factors in this game tonight, Lynn, could be the fact that Perth doesn't appear to have a lot of bench strength, whereas you look at the West End 36ers side, they still have Mike Mackay on the bench, they still have Peter Ally on the bench and a number of other good players. So if it comes to the crunch, it should be an easy game for the West End 36ers. But this time the foul is called on Dan Clawson, not happy with it. But referee John Beams won't have any argument, so Mark Davis will go to the foul line. There you see the Perth coach, Jay Bremer, giving his opinion. But Ken Cole just comes over and issues a couple of instructions to Ray Wood and Al Green. It's Mark Davis on the foul line for the 36ers.
And both teams are shooting 50% from the floor. The 36ers percentage, of course, increased by the fact that they're able to get the easier shots coming down off the fast break. But the rebounding tells the story. Perth are yet to take a rebound at either end of the floor. The 36ers have taken 9 rebounds, all of which has resulted in a fast break.
Well, that's a fairly dominating statistic, Lynn. Let's hope for the local fans that it continues tonight, as it's Caldwell. Gives it off to Torrance, does a turnaround, but doesn't make the shot. Nelson comes out with the rebound. Got plenty of help there from Ray Wood. And now Al Green, the man they call the mean machine. But he moves it off, and Bill Jones attempts the drive, gets caught, but turns and shoots, makes no mistake, so they're all in top form tonight.
Oh, that is a tough shot for Jones to make. You saw that he took the drive to the basket, spun, put the shot up and made it, and we'll probably go in and see what Ken Cole's got to say.
Still again, that was much better. Come this way and get good motion on their turnover and spread them out. Punish them in the offense. You're creating some beautiful stuff for each other. But run the offense around, come into Billy's side a little bit more, and keep up the talk at the back line on the defense down there. So and Alan Ray are right up pressing these guys, and you guys are up. It doesn't look like there's anywhere to run at the back. Once we get hold of the ball, take off. AG, try not to get too far down when the shot goes up.
Yeah, okay.
Because when you get that rebound, you ought to be looking for Al round about that top of the circle there, see? Because they ought to be able to get the rebound, kick it, or throw it straight to you so you can come flat out down the middle and let the other guys run the wing.
X may have to come all the way across if they get in motion. Now, offensively, again, we're in the overplay, but keep the ball on Dan's side. All right, now let's go to work. We're getting beat by not handling the ball.
And you hear there where coach Ken Cole for the 36ers is just pointing out to Al Green, look, it's really good that you're leading down the court very quickly, but don't go too far down the floor just in case they get the ball back. And of course, Jay Bramer, very conscious of the fact that Dan Clawson is not receiving enough of the ball, so they're going to design their offense around trying to get the ball into Dan Clawson now.
Still no substitutions made for either side, as it's Alan Black getting the ball into Clawson, and a fairly obvious foul there called on Mark Davis. Once again, Clawson, who's a master of that little feint. Mark Davis went straight up in the air. Jay Bramer issues more instructions. Clawson went up in the air. Davis was all over him, and so it's Dan Clawson on the foul line.
I think it's fair to say that Clawson was probably a little bit intimidated by the fact that he's coming up against three really big rebounders in Davis, Nelson and Jones. That time he threw the feint, and he could have actually taken a little dribble and got in really close for a layup, and he elected to throw up the hard jump shot. But he's good with the foul shots, takes his team along to 15, trailing the 36ers on 23.
So now the 36ers in offence. Al Green at the top of the key. Back to Ray Wood. Capacity house here at the Apollo Stadium. Pass goes into Nelson. Couldn't get the shot away, but good defensive work there from Dwayne Nelson. Jay Bramer goes crazy on the sidelines looking for the back pass rule, but the umpires signal play on. But then Ray Wood loses the ball now to Ellis, and the pass goes across to Torrance and misses with an absolute gimme. That is unforgivable basketball, Lynn.
Yes, should have made that one. That was a good effort on the steal from Mike Ellis to get the ball across. But the Wildcats are in a zone defence now, and that's a tough pass to make against the zone defence. Magnificent pass there by Green, and of course Davis received the pass and made the basket. That's a great effort.
Well, they say you do something with the eye of a needle, and that was exactly it. And now Al Green's on the run again. He's got players to go to, but this time the pass isn't as good. But the referee, John Beams, has signalled that it came off Sandy Caldwell. Caldwell not impressed with the call. Too bad. The ball remains with the possession of the 36ers as Ray Wood makes another three-pointer. So that's just 4 points away from 2,000 points for Ray Wood. Jay Bramer going berserk on the sidelines for Perth. It's Perth in attack.
And Perth can't afford to stay with that zone defence and let Ray Wood sit back there and shoot from the three-point line, because he'll make it. As the 36ers defence can't afford to do with Alan Black, because Alan Black is a very sound and strong shooter too. So let's have a look at this defence now, and will they get out to the players?
Perhaps Alan Black a little unlucky not to be in the Australian side. A lovely pass across to Jones. Misses it, but it comes to Nelson, and he puts it in the basket, and he's going to the foul line as well, so he's there for a bonus shot.
There's the ball now with Nelson, just leans in, and you can see quite clearly as he makes the finger roll, that's where he just rolls the ball off the end of the fingers into the net, and makes the basket, and the foul is called, makes the bonus, and that takes the 36ers along to 31, and they're leading the Perth Wildcats on 17.
It's been a bright start, bright opening by both teams. Minute and a half left in the first quarter. The 36ers leading 31-17. Perth trying to set something up desperately. It comes out to Caldwell, who decides to drive all the way. But Bill Jones does great work, gets the hands to the balls and just knocks it away from Caldwell. Caldwell hasn't really done a lot tonight so far. And now once again it's the home side looking to set it up. Green to Wood. Will he go for the pointer? No, he won't. Decides against the three-point shot. A long pass out from Wood, and with his left hand just flicks it back into court. So the 10-second warning goes as Al Green attempts the three-pointer and makes the three-pointer. So they're hot on the boards, they're hot under the basket, and they're hot outside the three-point line, Lynn.
Al Green certainly in scintillating form, very moving very well, very fast, running the fast break, controlling the ball, and he's made 4 assists in addition to his baskets. There's Mike Ellis from the three-point line. Good rebound underneath, off hands there. Good control by Ray Wood.
So what will they do this time? They've raced away to double Perth score, 34-17, as Mark Davis attempts the shot, misses. Bill Jones does some good work to get it away from Ellis. Comes out to Nelson. He just goes around Alan Black and puts it in the basket. So Dwayne Nelson, who is not normally a starting 5 player, is in excellent touch early tonight, Len.
Yes, he is, as are all the 36ers, but the Perth defence just isn't capable of matching up with the class of the 36ers altogether. And at the end of the quarter time break, It's the West End 36ers on 36 points, leading the Perth Wildcats on 17. The 36ers versus the Wildcats. Davis comes away with the ball, handoff to the man that has just walked onto the floor, Mike Mackay. And Mike Mackay opening up in the second quarter along with Peter Ailey, and they're replacing Ray Wood and Dwayne Milne respectively.
It's a good opening in the first quarter by the 36ers, scored 36 points. And you can already see that the Perth Wildcats have a problem. Jay Bramer wasn't able even to make a substitution, so obviously he hasn't got all the confidence in the world in his bench strength, as Davis takes another strong rebound. And Lynn, I know I've said it before, but I've got a feeling tonight we're going to see a big score by the home side.
Yes, I'd agree with that. The guys are the 36ers are just so tough on the boards. They're going to run this fast break. You've already said that the Perth team doesn't have the depth of the 36ers, and if the 36ers are going to keep running their fast break, the Perth team will tire, and as a result of that tiring, they just won't be able to keep up on defence.
Al Green misses with the three-point attempt there, and Clawson takes a rebound. Haven't been many rebounds for the Perth side tonight. Ellis had the opportunity to go all the way, but decides to come out again and set up. It's now with Sandy Caldwell. He gives it back to Ellis, and Ellis at this time does make the three-pointer. So a good basket there for Perth. 38-20 they trail. Capacity house here.
And see a match-up on defence. Peter Ailey will be guarding Mike Ellis, and they were former Australian teammates together. But Peter Ailey would normally be standing up very close to Mike Ellis, and that his additional height will prevent Ellis from getting that shot away. And you can see that the 36ers are running their zone offence around. The Perth team are obviously in trouble man-to-man, matching up with the skills of the individual 36ers, and that's why they've resorted to the team defence, which is a zone defence where individual people in each team don't actually guard one person, but rather as a group of guys they all guard an area.
The travel called this time on Trevor Torrance. Of course, the West End 36ers tonight without Daryl Pearce, who's in Spain, but on his way back now as the Boomers didn't make the second round of the World Championships. As the pass goes in from Davis to Jones, a lovely pass from Mark Davis, and Phil Jones, the captain of the 36ers, makes no mistake, and that takes them to 40. They lead Perth, who are on 20, as Ellis almost goes all the way and gives the ball out to Alan Black, but misses with the shot. Al Green was off before the ball even came. Makes no difference as he goes all the way. He was airborne for that long, they'd have to change his name to Concord, Lynn.
That is a fantastic effort from Al Green to have the skill to pick up the ball on the run like that. Two players breathing down his neck. He leaps up and makes a very difficult shot look easy.
This time the shot attempted by Dan Clawson. Almost all 8 players in there for the rebound. Ball goes out of court and will be Perth's ball. Substitution called by the Perth side, their first one. Sandy Caldwell goes out. Dwayne Bergeson comes in. And also Craig Fitzsimmons comes in for Perth. And it's Fitzsimmons who takes the ball from the side. Gives it to Ellis. 42-20, Perth Wildcats trail. Ball comes out to Fitzsimmons, who gives it back to Ellis. Not a very balanced shot. And Davis again the rebound. It's Mike Mackay on his own. 3-on-1. Will he go all the way? Yes, he will. Didn't beat one, didn't beat two, but beat 3 of them. Lennon just did it so easily. And Mike Mackay, only a youngster, only 20 years old, and a lot of basketball left in that young man.
Yes, Mike Mackay has been in superb touch over the last few weeks. Had a very lean opening to the season, but it's certainly in the last few weeks he's come back and he's in top form. And Coach Ken Cole lucky to have somebody like Mike Mackay that can play in either the guard or forward spot.
Well, that's confidence for you when you can have the Rookie of the Year last year, and tonight, as Mike Mackay just shows what we're talking about with the big three-pointer, it's confidence from Ken Cole. You can have the Rookie of the Year last year, and tonight you don't even need to start with him.
And Mike Mackay's come onto the floor. He's only been playing for 4 minutes or less than 4 minutes. He's attempted 3 shots and scored with all of them for a total of 7 points individually. That's a great effort.
This time it's Clawson with the turnaround, but misses. Clawson not having a good game so far. There's just far too much defensive pressure put on him by the West End 36ers as Al Green goes all the way up and under. And honestly, this is the best I've seen them play all year. Lynn, I know the Perth side is not shaping up as all that strong, but you have to give the 36ers credit. They're doing everything right.
36ers are in great touch. Al Green's now on 14 points. And the thing that is giving them the confidence is that they're pulling down the defensive rebounds and then running their fast break very quickly. That's a good move underneath by Ellis. Unfortunately for him and the Wildcats, it didn't come off, but they regained possession. And here's the outside shot by Dwayne Bergeson.
Well, without being too disrespectful to Dwayne Bergeson, he was a late inclusion into the side for the sacked Roland Brooks. And while they were warming up before the game, Lynn, we did question whether Bergeson in fact had the ability to match it with the best in the NBL. There's no question that the 36ers are about the best there is at this part of the season. And let's see if Bergeson can in fact improve on what we've seen in the first minute that he's been on the court.
Well, certainly the 36ers heading up the NBL ladder as Mike Mackay goes along to 10 points in very quick time. The 36ers are running hot. They are at the top of the NBL ladder. Perth languishing a little bit. They've only won 5 from 12 games and are struggling. The 36ers have only lost the 1 game, as Clawson will get an opportunity here. But look at that defence by the 36ers. There's Jones, Davis and Eli all in competing underneath. And Clawson is substituted from the game, hasn't had a very big input to date. Coach Bramer would be very disappointed with that, and young Craig Watkins, number 11, comes in and replaces him.
Yes, Watkins, only a youngster, 20 years old. As this time again, it's the 36ers in offence, and a fantastic pass from Al Green to Mark Davis. This is absolutely unbelievable. You see Al Green, look at the pass there. He's airborne. Davis just rolls it into the basket. That's incredible. At the other end of the court, we just saw Perth score through the services of Craig Watkins, just come onto the court. Al Green going all the way again, but this time Watkins in the way and fouls Al Green, who's on the ground, and he'll be going to the foul line now to have his shots.
I don't think I've seen the 36ers run their fast break as quickly. Green receives the long pass. Good for the Wildcats defence. There's 3 of them there on defence, but Al Green just received the ball so quickly, drove to the basket as soon as he received the ball, and there was the foul. Makes good with the foul shot to take his individual tally along to 15, and that's his now 16, and the 36ers along to 6, and they're leading the Perth Wildcats on 22.
Well, with well over a half of basketball to go on already, 56 points on the board, Lynn. As we were saying, we could see something quite incredible here tonight as the ball is put in basket by Craig Fitzsimmons. That's a good shot for Fitzsimmons. Just come onto the court recently. He scores 2 points. It takes Perth to 24. They're a long way behind already, the West End 36ers, with 56 points on the board.
And the 36ers have taken 23 rebounds, make that 24 rebounds, but Alan Black comes away with the ball. Perth have only been on the board 6 times. Fitzsimmons hits with another 2, so that's 4 points to Fitzsimmons, 26 to the Wildcats.
It's been a bright opening by both sides, but the 36ers just in complete control at the moment. And let's see what they can do this time that they set up. As we said, a full house here. Been some great games played between these 2 sides. The 36ers have a 6-3 advantage in their 9 contests. 10-second warning goes. Mike Mackay misses with that shot. And the rebound comes out to Bergeson. And he gives it off to Craig Fitzsimmons. It's Black who attempts the drive but misses. And now it's 2-on-2 for the 36ers, 3-on-2 as Al Green tries to get the ball off to Mike Mackay, but just gets fingers to the ball. Mackay loses. It comes back to Ellis. He misses with the shot. And so this time, both sides missing a couple of opportunities at either ends of the court in the last minute or so. Let's see what the West End 36ers can do this time.
Looking to run their zone offence. Davis will just go all the way. Scores the basket over the top of Craig Fitzsimmons. He just hasn't got the height to go with Davis, and if Davis has got the opportunity, he'll just shoot straight over the top.
Davis in brilliant fashion. Probably one of the highlights of his career so far. Last week won the Woolacott medal, which is for the fairest and most brilliant player in local competition. Jay Bramer yelling abuse at who, I'm not sure. Substitution called by Perth now.
The West End 36ers. The 36ers know only one way to play the game, and that's to play their hearts out. Every game's one step closer to the national finals. And this year, look out, because here come the 36ers. The West End 36ers. Come and see him in action at Apollo Stadium.
Both coaches arguing now. Ken Cole yelling at John Beams. And a timeout call. So let's have a listen to what the coaches have to say, with the West End 36ers leading 58 to 26.
Am I allowed to call you a dummy?
No, but I'll have words with him in a minute, okay?
Words?
Yeah, hang on, just hold your coach.
Listen, that's really weak. Weak! We had about 3 charging fouls. Now, what we do have to work at just maintaining our ground a little bit more, body-wise, but you just got to lean into them without using your hands. Now, Ken called this guy a dummy. Now, he's going to have some words with him. You know what the hell that means? We just have to get out here and just make the ball move. We got to penetrate with the ball, Glenn and Eric. Look for the sixes. We're regular and get the good one. Now, let's work.
So Coach Jay Bramer, notorious for his comments with the referees at his home court over at Perth, not too happy with the refereeing here.
Well, let's just hope that referee John Beams doesn't watch this match on television, because John Beams, of course, is the police prosecutor, and calling someone a dummy publicly, well, that's fraught with danger, as it's Alan Black now on the foul line and makes it with both shots. So substitution called by Perth as Black takes a rest, and a well-earned rest, done some good work for Perth. And number 4, Eric Waterson, comes on for his first appearance for Perth.
And it's good to see young Glenn Ellis. He's coming in guarding Al Green. Ellis is number 7. He's brother to Mike. Glenn Ellis 2 years ago suffered a very severe back injury, and it's good to see that he's recovered and come back and fought his way back to a place in the Wildcats team. 15 points now for Mark Davis, as Peter Ally dives for possession and just fails. The ball goes out of court. So Perth again with the ball. Bergerson gives it back to Fitzsimmons, and a good shot from Fitzsimmons. And that's 3 good baskets he's made since he's been on the court. And they get to 30 points now, Perth, as Mike Mackay attempts to climb all over the Perth defence. And Perth not shooting very well from the floor, Andrew. They're only hitting 16%. And, of course, that tells the story with the defensive rebounds that the 36ers are taking and then running into their fast break. Whereas at the other end, the 36ers are hitting 71%.
Well, Bergerson just improves that percentage with 2 points. His first 2 points of the match. They're 28 points behind, Perth, as it's Al Green now looking to set it up. The ball comes back to Green. He's free if he wants to go all the way. Does, misses with the shot, gets his own rebound, does it all by himself and says, I can handle this, fellas. You go back into defence. I'll put it in the basket.
17 points to Al Green.
A very attacking game from Al Green tonight, as it's Fitzsimmons back to Waterson. Waterson attempts the 3-pointer. Jones says, I'll have the rebound. The pass misses Peter Ally, comes to Green, and eventually the 36ers will take possession. But they're stopped in their endeavours now as the substitution is called. Ray Wood comes back on the court as Peter Ally takes a rest. Peter Ally being in good form this year, as has Ray Wood, this man in the screen now. 29 years of age. Could possibly be his last season. As a young family, a veteran of the game. In fact, has played more NBL games than any player in Australia. As Davis, lovely drive away from the basket and just puts it in the basket. Davis in top form tonight. 64 to 32, the West End 36ers lead.
17 points there to Mark Davis.
Bergerson back in the game again and scores 2 points. That takes him to 4 for the game, as a timeout has been called by the West End 36ers.
this. Just listen up very carefully. Let's switch the centre to this side of the court. So, Billy, you come up here into the centre position. Right? Ray, you get over here and fall loop Mike out to 2. Let's throw the ball to Mark and hold up on the cut. So Al or whoever's making the cut, if you're going to cut, hold up at the start and then cut low. And we're going to try and throw it to you and isolate this big slow guy. And see if for 1 or 2 possessions we can get in the set offense, see if we can get him all by himself. So Billy will take the centre spot over this side. We'll kick the ball that way to you and just face him, fake pass, and taking one-on-one. If it's not there, just pull it straight back and run it nice and regular. In the offense, keep getting the ball out in the middle of the court so you can penetrate hard, okay? And just hold and stay. Hey, keep it up from here, gentlemen. Come on. 2 minutes hard.
So Ken Cole quite explicit with his instructions there, changing the offensive pattern around a little bit. The Perth team has caused a few unforced errors. The fast break that was so evident not happening in the last few minutes, and so Ken Cole just pointing out to his players that there is a chance of a record score here if they run a disciplined offence.
They've really got to battle all night if they want to do something quite incredible here tonight. It's not a matter of just winning the game. Percentage may in fact play an important part at the end of the year, as Davis attempts a shot fairly short, comes back to him after a good rebound from Ray Wood, and the 36ers will start it over again. But looking for a big win tonight. They're leading 64-34 currently, as Davis tries to drive it instead, gives it off to Jones. Ray Wood comes out with the ball.
And it's always dangerous for a player at the defensive end of the court to try and throw the ball back into play, because as you can see on that occasion, the ball went back to the 36ers and Davis goes through. Great rebound over the top by Jones.
See, that's a top piece of work from Bill Jones. Had to beat not only Dan Clausen but Sandy Caldwell as well. Did it with ease and put it in the basket. 66-34, the home side leads.
So the guards, that's a bad shot that's thrown up there by Eric Watterson. And a long pass to Al Green. There's that fast break again. Al Green with a two-handed dunk takes him along to 20 points.
There's good eyes there from Mark Davis. Got the ball out, saw Al Green right at the other end of the court. A perfect pinpoint pass. Green, no mistake. This time at the other end, though, it's Perth attempting the shot through Glenn Ellis and makes the basket, so a good basket to Ellis there. And it takes the Perth Wildcats to 37. They're trailing the West End 36ers on 68 with 45 seconds to go in the first half. Al Green attempts a shot, makes no mistake. Only 2 points, just an inch short of a three-pointer there from Al Green. But he has been hot tonight, Al Green.
Al Green with 22 points, 4 assists, several steals, and doing a very good job on defence as well. And certainly this quarter has belonged to him.
Well, it's interesting. Perth are taking their shots from outside because they can't get in close enough. Unfortunately, they're not making the shots, so they're scoring at about half the rate at the Adelaide side. But that time, good piece of work. Glenn Ellis, yes, and a lovely pass to Craig Fitzsimmons. And Fitzsimmons been not the worst player Perth's had tonight. Has scored on a couple of occasions now, has 8 points for the match, and has done some good work.
I'm sorry, Andrew, but several of these Perth players are very talented, but unfortunately for them they haven't shown it to date, and it's the West End 36ers on 70 leading the Perth Wildcats on 38 at half-time. And they're against the Perth Wildcats, who are trailing with only 39 points. Andrew Kay, a sensational opening in that first half by the 36ers.
Yes, the 36ers struggled to do anything wrong in that first half. As we see Dwayne Nelson there drive all the way. He had a great first quarter in which he scored 9 points. Started in the opening 5 tonight and now has 11 for the game. So, as I was saying, an outstanding first half by the 36ers to open up a 31-point lead at the half-time break. As this time it's Dan Clausen, a former 36ers player who makes it with the hook shot. Had a very quiet first half, and we all know that he is a better player than what he showed. Let's see whether he can produce something here to perhaps even up the game a little. But Ellis gets the pass over to Fitzsimmons, and Fitzsimmons misses with an easy basket, and the 36ers come away. They lead 72-41.
Jones, he'll go one-on-one, spins, puts the shot up. The foul has been called, and they called a charge foul. Well, that's a very unusual call. There's the big spin now, throws the feint, A little touch, perhaps, but certainly I wouldn't have called a foul if I was the referee then, Andrew.
Yes, certainly a lot tougher than that in some instances in the first half. But we're not down there, Lynn, so who knows? Fitzsimmons there doing pretty much what Jones did and got away with it. But the ball comes out to the 36ers. Al Green decides what to do. Misses with the shot. Perhaps could have passed off, but chose not to. Al Green had a sensational first half. Some 22 points in the first half. A real offensive display from him. But on the same hand, did some great defensive work. As Clausen gets the pass back to Watkins. Misses with the shot. The ball came off the Perth Wildcats player, so the 36ers will take possession.
And really the story of the first half is told in the statistics. Adelaide shot 65% from the floor, and that's because they pulled down 31 rebounds and they were able to run into their fast break. That's advancing the ball very quickly down to the floor before the defence has a chance to set up, and they make an easy shot. As Ray Wood up for 2 points, misses, and away comes the Wildcats, and they're looking for a fast break as well. And there's Ellis, should make an easy basket, and he's just intimidated then by Nelson and sprays the shot.
Well, perhaps a little bit of a scrambly opening there, as we saw Ray Wood lose possession as well. This time Ellis tries to go alone again, misses. Davis keeps the ball in play, only just. And I'll tell you what, I'll go out on a limb, Lynn, and say that it won't be long. This time Ray Wood makes the shot. It won't be long before the Perth Wildcats coach, Jay Bramer, is given a technical foul. He has been standing there for the entire opening of this second half yelling abuse at referee John Beams, and I tell you what, it will not be long before he gets pinged.
Quite right. Bramer is going absolutely crazy there on the bench, and the crowd here at Apollo will also go absolutely crazy the next time Ray Wood makes a basket, because his next 2 points will take him up to 2,000 points, and he's not successful on that occasion. Al Green looking for a foul which wasn't called, and the Wildcats through Ellis, lovely handoff. The basket is just, they're intimidated, Andrew, by those two big guys down there, Nelson and Davis. They're just frightened to take the easy shot. There it is. There it is for Ray Wood, 2,000 points in the National Basketball League, and that is a tremendous effort. He is one of the real favourites of this crowd. He's been around for a long time, and congratulations to Ray Wood. He would be tickled pink with that effort. That is a real milestone for him. Down at the other end, Perth unfortunately can't do the same. They can't put it in the basket. They're trailing now 76-41. Yes, Ray Wood, 28 years of age, and he's played nearly 200 NBL games, and in fact it's 184 district NBL games for 11-point average. And there you see Davis go through, and the foul is called.
Yes, Ray Wood really has been his night tonight, though. A couple of weeks ago we saw Al Green score his 4,000th point. Of course, Ray Wood, one of the best guards in the game, tremendous player. I remember seeing him play when I was 7 and he was 7, and he was a good player then. Mind you, he's improved a lot since, and he's been one of the best players in this country, Ray Wood. He's given great service to the game. Anyway, back with the action. 77-41, the West End 36ers lead. 7 minutes and 59 seconds left in the third quarter.
So the Wildcats trying to break up this tight defence, this tight man-to-man defence being played by the 36ers. Clausen, only 6 points to date, being held very quietly. And once again, the Wildcats forced to throw up a bad shot, and here's the fast break. And you could see that coming from the centre line. Al Green just held onto the ball, and Dwayne Nelson fills in the hole, makes an easy basket to take his personal tally to 13 points. And it's the 36ers on 79, and the Perth Wildcats, who unable to make that basket, are trailing on 41. But the Wildcats retained possession. The referee said that there was some interference there. And the Wildcats is having a substitution as number 14, Sandy Caldwell, comes in, replacing Craig Watkins.
Caldwell been relatively quiet for Perth tonight, being guarded by Bill Jones, but it's Clausen with the ball against Davis. Misses with the shot, but the foul is called on Bill Jones, who's holding Caldwell out. Billy Jones not too impressed with the call, but then again he can't have too much to argue about. His side, the side he captains, the West End 36ers, are well in front, 79-41.
Just look how now Clausen not able to get the ball because Nelson shrinks off. There's two people guarding him there. As soon as the pass comes in, they're going to try and flick the ball away. Referee John Beam said that Mark Davis got a hand there. Foul was called, and once again the Perth Wildcats with the ball from the side, looking to throw the ball into Clausen, and he's very well guarded as Ellis goes all the way to the baseline. Raymond Wood on a 2-on-1. Al Green will lay this up. There's the ball, and Green all the way to the basket, but a superb rebound and a great effort by Dwayne Nelson, and he's playing a great game tonight, Andrew, for 15 points.
See, that's the best game I've seen him play all year. There's a lovely rebound at the other end from Craig Fitzsimmons, and he's done also some good work for Perth. But Dwayne Nelson, he really has been a star tonight. We've always known he's got ability. Tonight he's decided he's going to show this full house some of it, and he's been a very good player for his 15 points. As Caldwell getting the hands into the back of Bill Jones, who eventually loses possession, comes out to Ellis, being heavily guarded by Ray Wood. Ray Wood doing everything there to get the ball off him, and eventually Ellis has had enough and gives it off to Fitzsimmons, who in turn gives it to Torrance, and Torrance puts it in the bucket. So the Perth Wildcats not doing too bad in the opening here of the second half. They now move to 45, but they're still trailing the 36ers, who are on 81. There's a poor pass there, just goes out of court. And a timeout is called by the West End 36ers. In fact, it looks like
Raymond Wood substituted out of the game, and the main reason for that would be so that Coach Ken Cole can give the crowd a chance to show some appreciation for Ray Wood, rather than the fact that Ray Wood has done anything wrong. And of course, young Scott Ninnis, number 6, comes onto the floor for the first time ever for the West End 36ers, and he'll be filling the shoes of his famous father Bruce, who was a great all-time player in South Australian basketball.
this is good what Ken Cole's doing now. He doesn't have a regular 5 on there at the moment. Ninnis, a youngster, David Spear, a youngster, Mike Mackay, whilst a proven NBL player, still a youngster, and he's giving these guys a chance, because David Spear almost scores. Ninnis attempted to tap him. It half decided to go in and then fell out again. So Ninnis just short of scoring with his first ever shot in NBL basketball. But now it's Perth looking to set up, and if they're going to get back into the game, they've got the opportunity, but at the same hand, these youngsters will be doing everything to make sure they don't. There's a lovely shot there put up from Alan Black. Alan Black, a good player for Perth tonight, scores 2 points, takes his total on to 12 now. The Perth Wildcats on 47, trailing the West End 36ers 81.
And of course, young Scott Ninnis and David Spear are used to this sort of pressure because they're training with the 36ers team 6 and 7 times a week. So they're used to the physical work and everything that the team does. They're part of the team. They mightn't hit the floor in games spending a lot of time, but certainly they are very much part of the team and part of the success of the team.
Perth fail again with the shot, but they at least will hold on to possession. As the ball came off Mark Davis's hands, it'll be Fitzsimmons taking it from the side. Players jostling for position. Fitzsimmons will look for the shot, but can't this time, so he gives it out to Black. Black sells the dummy to Ninnis and gives it back to Ellis. Ellis puts up the shot, and a good shot this time from Mike Ellis. Brings up his 5th point of the night. Black giving Scott Ninnis plenty of pressure. And now the 36ers looking to set it up again. They lead 81-49. Perth coach Jay Bremer, hands on hips. Ninnis here. Spear, David Spear just come onto the court. Scores for the West End 36ers, his first points in the match.
And that's a good offense by the 36ers. They slowed the thing right down. Everybody did everything right to create the loose man, and David Spear made the easy basket. See substitutions. Dan Clausen leaving the game, had absolutely no influence on this game with only 6 points. And the reason for that is that the superb defense of the 36ers, Davis, Jones and Nelson, have all helped out to really obliterate Clausen's influence on the game.
Once again, Fitzsimmons scores for Perth. Done a good job tonight, Craig Fitzsimmons. It's his 12th point, didn't play at all in the first quarter, but immediately he came onto the court, he started putting the ball through the hoop. As this time the foul is called on Sandy Caldwell. just had no way of getting out the way of Mark Davis.
And there's the clear out. There's a whole open side down one side as Davis goes all the way. And
3 points the difference with Davis at the foul line. Make that 34. And I just wonder, Lynn, with Al Green being rested, Bill Jones being rested, Ray Wood being rested, Peter Ally being rested, will he go for an all-out assault in the last quarter and go for something quite incredible?
I think we can expect to see something like that because those players are going to be fresh. The Perth people are going to be very tired as Dwayne Bergen chips in 2 points for the Wildcats to take them along to 53, trailing the 36ers on 85.
Well, if I was Bergeson, I would get a videotape of that incident and keep it, because it wouldn't be too often in his career that he's going to have the pleasure of beating Mark Davis for a rebound. But this time he comes out with the rebound again and palms it off to Alan Black. Black loses possession, but eventually it comes out to Ellis. Ellis sells the dummy, drives all the way and makes a good basket. Good work from Mike Ellis. He's been a good player for Perth tonight. He's tried hard all night, but he'll have to do a lot more to get them back into the game.
And Mike Ellis on 7 points. He's a great player, but as we've already pointed out, some of the really good players in the Perth team are just being overshadowed by the good work of the 36ers defence. David Spear looking to go drive all the way to the basket, and there he goes. And Scotty Ninnis nearly came through and picked up the rebound. And unfortunately for Dwayne Bergeson, he was out of court when he grabbed hold of that ball. So it's the 36ers coming into offense. Nelson's got one whole side of the court and he just goes in, misses the first shot and the second, but over the top is Dwayne Nelson, and there's that man again. That'll be no score. The referee said that the foul occurred before Dwayne Nelson started to take the shot. Therefore, there won't be any shots to Dwayne Nelson. The foul stands, but the 36ers bring the ball into play from the sideline.
Well, I've got to take referee John Beams to task there. On the whole, he and Jeff Wicks have done a pretty good job tonight, but I reckon he missed the first 2 fouls there, and they were both while Davis was shooting. No foul there for 2 points there to Davis, and takes him to 22 points, and the 36ers move on to 87.
Davis easy to spin for that reverse jump shot as Black goes all the way to the basket. No score, because once again the foul occurred before the shot was attempted. So there will be shots from the foul line for Alan Black. Alan Black, a leading player, has been a very good player over a great number of years, formerly with Nunawading. Takes the first of his foul shots, is successful, takes his team along to 56 points and his personal tally along to 12.
Huge cheer goes up from this capacity house here at Apollo. Relatively quiet quarter for the 36ers. They've only scored 17 points in this quarter, as opposed to 36 in the first and 34 in the second. Only a minute 48 to go. This time the foul is called, looks like on Bergeson again, Dwayne Bergeson.
Mike Ellis.
In fact, I beg your pardon, called on Mike Ellis. Ferguson just walked away, and it looks like Mark Davis will go to the foul line. Mark Davis been a strong player again tonight, the current Woolacott medalist in South Australia. Very good player, Mark Davis, and in fact indicated that he doesn't mind Adelaide at all, and I'm sure Adelaide doesn't mind him, and they'd be very keen for him to stay here in the years to come. Davis misses with the second, however, and the ball comes out to Black. Alan Black, a good player, gives it to Bergeson, and a good shot from Dwayne Bergeson. So in fact he has done some good work in the third quarter. Minute 45 to go in the third quarter. Ball comes out to Scott Ninnis. Lovely pass in from Dwayne Nelson. Scott Ninnis scores his first basket in National Basketball League.
And I suspect that'll be the first of many baskets to be scored by Scott Ninnis. It's a 2-on-1 handoff, which came unstuck. Good defensive work there by Mike Ellis. It was a 3-on-1 situation, and Mike Ellis anticipated that handoff there from Mike Mackay.
Well, it's funny, 5 minutes ago, Lynn, we were celebrating the fact that Ray Wood scored his 2,000th point as David Spear attempts the shot and makes the shot. As I was saying, we were celebrating the fact that Ray Wood just scored his 2,000th point, and then 5 minutes later, Scott Ninnis does the complete opposite and scores his first ever points in NBL. One player reaching the twilight and another just beginning. Just shows the strength of Australian basketball. There's Dwayne Nelson, big rebound. Been a great player tonight, Nelson. Been pretty happy with himself too, as a long pass from Spear is pretty off beam. Innes would have had to have jumped 10 foot in the air. And at the other end, Fitzsimmons scores an easy 2 points for Perth.
14 points to Fitzsimmons, and he's put in a fairly solid effort for the Wildcats, as has Alan Black, who vigorously attacked Scott Ninnis.
So Perth had a pretty good first, rather had a fairly lousy first half, but a good third quarter. They've matched it with the 36ers, in fact, in this quarter, scoring 22 points apiece. And it's still 22 points apiece after Mike Mackay missed that shot. It's Black again with the long pass to Fitzsimmons, looking to drive, and gets the drive. A good play from Graham Fitzsimmons. Has been a good player since he came on. Makes you wonder why Joe Bramer didn't play him in the... Scott Ninnis scores a three-pointer on the siren. The crowd boos because the umpire says it doesn't count. And at three-quarter time, the West End 36ers 92 lead the Perth Wildcats 63, and the crowd continue to boo.
It's the 36ers by 29 over the Perth Wildcats, as Michael Ellis hustles up on the defence there. And the beautiful one-on-one, not quite come off, but there's that man Nelson. And Dwayne Nelson, what a fantastic rebound to take him to 17 points.
Gee, that was great work from Dwayne Nelson. Just crashed the pack, turned around, put the elbow into Watkins, laid it up and made 2 points, and gets the bonus shot as well. He has had an unbelievable game, Lynn. That's the best I've ever seen him play.
Well, certainly tonight he was given the opportunity, as he takes his personal tally along to 18 points. Opened in the first 5 for the first time ever for the 36ers, and he's certainly done it proud. And perhaps when Darryl Pearce comes back from the World Championships in Spain, he might find it a little bit difficult to get back into the first 5.
Well, that's how a good side should be, Lynn, as Clausen attempts the hook shot, makes the hook shot. Good shot from Dan Clausen, but it's good if you've got players of that quality that they should have to fight their way into the side, so that it's not a lay down misère that they can turn around and say, well, I'm in the first 5, you're not, get on the bench. But if Nelson is given an opportunity, he's taken the opportunity, and Ken Cole could be nothing more than absolutely thrilled with it.
And Joe Bramer looks anything but absolutely thrilled, as he gives instructions to his team and continues to tell the referees where perhaps that they are going wrong. But getting back to Dwayne Nelson, as Mike Mackay makes the first of his foul shots to take his personal tally along to 12 points, and the second one to 13, take the 36ers along to 97. But Nelson has certainly been the success story tonight. He's made 8 from 9 attempts for his tally of 18 personal points.
Clausen again attempts the hook shot, and again he's successful, so that's 3 times he's made that now in the second half. And I suppose, Lynn, you have to give credit to the Perth Wildcats. They came out in the third quarter, they were looking down the barrel at a big defeat, and in fact in that third quarter outscored the 36ers by 2 points, as Mackay lets go a bullet pass into Davis, loses control, but Ninnis recovers to give it to Nelson. Nelson this time misses, but Mackay takes a rebound in between 3 players. Good play there, Mike Mackay. David Spear now has set it up again. But as I was saying, Perth did a very good job in that third quarter, outscoring the 36ers 24-22. Mike Mackay attempts the shot and gets unloaded, and in fact take the ball from the side. Sandy Caldwell has the foul called on him. 97-67 with 10.5 minutes to go.
And Adelaide only shooting 47% overall in that third quarter, Perth picking up 56%. So whilst Perth increased their shooting percentage, the 36ers dropped theirs.
Perth just have increased their work rate. They looked a little flat in the first quarter. They weren't doing the hard things, while the 36ers were running hot. And in the second half, I don't know what Jay Bramer said to them at half-time, but he gave them something that gave them a little bit of pep, a little bit of zest, and they've played accordingly in this second half. As it's Ellis who attempts the shot but misses. Nelson again, the big rebound, and just flicks it back to David Spear. Nelson really has been a star tonight.
Certainly the 2 stars for the 36ers have been Nelson on the boards and with his shooting, and there's Nelson competing underneath again. And with Nelson doing such a good job on the boards, gave Al Green the chance to run, and certainly Al Green brought the crowd and the team alive with his fast sprints down the court.
Well, these youngsters certainly doing the Adelaide side proud when you consider Ken Cole has players like Al Green, Bill Jones, Peter Ally and Ray Wood on the bench, but he's quite happy to use players like Scott Ninnis and David Spear and Mike Mackay as Ninnis attempts the basket, makes the basket, and there's normally a huge cheer when someone like Al Green scores, but tonight they're saving their loudest applause for young Scott Ninnis in his first game.
And Scott Ninnis, that was a sweet move. I mean, he made the basket, but he did it so well. He got rid of his defensive man into the screen. Here's a fast break if they want it. As a lovely spin and turn there by David Spear. Unfortunately for him, the shot went away.
Well, I think if that one had gone in, he would have brought the house down. And now we see a few substitutions, 3 being made on both sides. For Adelaide, you see David Spear, Scott Ninnis and Mark Davis leave the court. Al Green, Peter Sexton and Bill Jones come back on the court. For Perth, Fitzsimmons back on the side.
And Eric Watterson.
And Glenn Ellis. Glenn Ellis with the ball now. Looking for Fitzsimmons, but instead gives it to Watterson, who in fact drive but miss. The rebound comes straight down to Fitzsimmons. Been one of Perth's top 3 players. Clawson looking to get the shot away, does get the shot away and draws the foul. So Dan Clawson will go to the bonus line.
12 points for Dan Clawson, and they've all come pretty well, Andrew. The only effort in this third quarter, or final quarter, where Dan Clawson started to look for the hook shot, was able to receive the ball, but it's only in the last quarter that the defense has allowed him to actually receive the ball.
Yes, Clawson, we expected to be a big thorn in the Adelaide side, but in the first half, I suppose to be blatantly honest, he did absolutely nothing. Not like that man there, though. Al Green got a lovely little pass in and just did the spin and put it in the basket. And that brings up the 100 points for the West End 36ers. 101, they lead to Perth 69 as a foul is called this time on the West End 36ers.
As the spin leans in underneath the delayed step, and can't quite see on the screen, but obviously the referee saw a whole lot of hands and hacking carrying on there.
So it's Glenn Ellis at the foul line now for Perth. Makes the first, takes his side to 70. They're trailing by 31 points and makes it with the second. So one of the 2 Ellis brothers on the court playing for Perth at the moment. Dwayne Nelson with the ball, had been a star for Adelaide tonight. Jones decides to give it off to Mackay. Mackay says, thanks very much, I'll have that, and puts it in the basket. 103 to 71. Been a real team performance by the 36ers as Ellis tries to drive all the way. Looked like a travel. The rebound came to Caldwell, and Caldwell just put it in the basket.
And the Perth Wildcats extending their defence. They're going to play this game right down the wire. Here's the double team as Glenn Ellis almost comes off with a steal, but Peter Sexton with the ball inbounds for the 36ers. So the Perth Wildcats have not given up, Andrew, and they're going to really press and try and create some errors and get as much out of this game as they can.
As Bill Jones attempts the shot, Al Green picks up the rebound, and there's a jungle of arms in there, and there was really nothing more the Perth side could do than foul Al Green. You see him get the rebound there, and there's just hands everywhere. It's like a cage. And as Al Green goes up, the hands slap him from everywhere, so he goes to the foul line.
So Al Green on the foul line. 36ers on 103, now 104, as Al Green takes his personal tally to 25 points and makes the second shot to take his personal tally along to 26, and the West End 36ers 105, leading the Perth Wildcats on 73.
And Ken Cole will be a happy man tonight. He came into this game,
and one of the spectators says, well, it's all over for the Wildcats as far as I'm concerned, and decides to take 40 wings.
Perhaps a future basketballer in the making. With a steal there now. Oh, lovely pass from Mike Mackay, gives it to Al Green. He attempts to get the ball back to Mackay, just comes off Craig Fitzsimmons' hand, and the West End 36ers will retain possession. 32 points the difference. As Al Green hoopling into the court, draws the foul again. So Al Green once again will go to the foul line.
And Jay Bremner stares in disbelief at the call, but what he really should be saying is, well, Al Green is going to throw out that wide arm, the left hand, and if somebody is going to try and play defence on it when they're off balance, they're definitely going to foul him every time. The player has to play defence in between the offensive player and the basket, or the hands foul. It will happen most times. Green misses on that occasion, and it's the Wildcats into offence. Man-to-man defence being played by the 36ers. Ellis in the jungle, intimidated again by Nelson and Jones, and it's a 3-on-2 fast break.
Sexton, what will he do? He'll put it in the basket. Peter Sexton absolutely thrilled with that. Lovely pass from Al Green. At the other end we see Perth attempt the same, but the shot's not as good as Sexton's. Peter Sexton will be absolutely thrilled with that basket, and so he should be. He's a good player, a junior player, and he's got a lot to offer basketball. Just pay his dues in this game, and one day he will be a starting 5 player. He's under the basket calling for the ball, and lucky that Glenn Ellis didn't have the foul called on him. He saw Sexton in there at the last moment and just slapped the ball out of his hands. Tries it again, this time on Al Green. Al Green keeps possession, tries the basket. She went 4/4 of the way through and then popped out. So Perth now looking to set it up. They're trailing 108-73. They miss with the shot. The ball comes off the foot of Craig Fitzsimmons. Foot violation. 36ers will take possession, but there's a substitution first. Dwayne Nelson gets a lovely ovation after a great game tonight. Excellent game from Dwayne Nelson. Mark Davis comes back into the game, as does Ray Wood, who tonight scored his 2,000th point. In the meantime, Ken Cole has called a timeout.
From here, push, give it to Al and push the break, fill the lanes, and when it is not there, get real nice offense, so we score off them every time. They're in bonus, we're in bonus shoot. If we run our offense, we'll get fouled. Defensively, keep excellent pressure up and get your help from the 2 big men at the back, okay? Let's go. There's 6 minutes to go, which is... Go ahead and go with it. All right, let's work now.
Don't forget the next showdown here, Saturday, July the 26th, against the Melbourne Tigers, the City of Wales, the Hero Apollo, and the SAS Shot.
So Coach Ken Cole just pointing out to his players that if the fast break is not on, slow down and don't throw up bad shots. Try and treat the rest of this game as an exercise in discipline and try and score every possession. As Al Green throws the ball back because that drive wasn't on, he couldn't get all the way to the basket. And they'll run and try and get somebody free for an easy shot as they move the ball around.
Just over 5.5 minutes to go. The West End 36ers well in front. Al Green has the foul called on him. Got a big smile on his face as well. He knew it was there. Referee John Beams just signals the bench. Joe Bramer's still going a bit crazy over in his bench. There's not much he can do about the result of this game. His side is down by over 30 points as the steal comes now. Ray Wood just lays it up. Thanks very much. He scores his 12th point of the match. So that's 2,002 points he scored in NBL basketball.
Perth, there's the drive, 1-on-1, and that's a very tough shot for Craig Fitzsimmons to make because it was good defence by Peter Sexton. So the Wildcats are on 75, trailing the 36ers on 110.
18 points for Fitzsimmons as the ball is passed in from Wood to Jones. Jones attempting to drive. Rebound comes out to Al Green. Straight that away through the basket. Just too good, Al Green, and he is having a sensational game tonight. 29 points. And now it's Perth again. There's not much they can do, only show the crowd that they are trying. The ball comes down to Dwayne Bergerson. 3 seconds to calls on Sandy Caldwell, just standing in the key doing nothing. And it'll be Ray Wood who'll take the ball from the side.
Yes, the big guys underneath aren't allowed to camp in that keyway area for any longer than 3 seconds. And if they do, then they're penalised and their team loses the ball.
Now it's Bill Jones, the captain of the 36ers. As easy as you like. Just dribbles one way through the legs, puts the shot up and makes the basket. 114-75. And that margin increasing all the time now. The 36ers starting to hit top gear. Davis, another rebound. Green calls, says, give me the ball. I want to dunk it. And he does just that. Lovely work from the 36ers. You see the pass, a pinpoint pass Green, one bounce, up and bang, straight through the basket.
And you'll see the ring just bend there, and that's because there is actually a hinge that sits on the backboard. If that ring was rigid, of course, the ring could come away and the backboard could be shattered. And that would be the only way that Perth would have any chance of winning this game.
Davis, another rebound. In fact, I've seen Al Green smash a backboard. I've never seen that in my life until one day I was watching them train at the university gym, and I saw Green smash a backboard with a dunk, and something quite incredible. Lovely pass there across to Waterson, and a good two-point basket to Perth. But they're trailing by a long way. They're 77, the West End 36 is 116.
So it's the 36ers inside to Davis. There's Peter Sexton underneath, and that's a lovely basket there by Peter Sexton. And I mentioned earlier, Andrew, that Peter Sexton is very good with the ball, but like every top sportsman, he does a lot of good work away from the ball and without the ball. Creates the position as we saw him get free then. And chases then with strength. It's a 2-on-1 now if they want it, but unfortunately for Peter Sexton, there was a hand in there, but Ellis comes away, and a beautiful pass off by Ellis. Nice rebound by Craig Fitzsimmons, and that takes him along to 21 points, and he's certainly been one of the stars for the Perth Wildcats.
Makes you wonder why he wasn't in the starting five, Lynn. And in the meantime now it's Bill Jones again who sells the dummy. Al Green, a lovely rebound. And he has just been in devastating form tonight, Al Green. He hasn't been able to do anything wrong at both ends of the court. But I suppose in all honesty you have to say it's been a very disciplined team performance. If that wasn't a travel, I don't know what it is. But I suppose all to the benefit of Glenn Ellis. He got away with it and scored the 2 points. 2 minutes and 10 seconds to go. 120-81, the West End 36ers lead.
And the 36ers doing pretty well as they please. And Berrison comes away with the rebound. 36ers not getting back on defence. And the foul's being called now, a hands foul. Peter Sexton.
Yes, you'll see Fitzsimmons here attempting the drive. He just goes to turn around. There's the hand the first time and again the second time. And unfortunately for young Peter Sexton, the foul called on him. So it'll be Fitzsimmons who had the foul called on him from the side. Gives it across to Bergerson. Bergerson, a good pass into Caldwell. Caldwell, well, not perhaps the mobility to get away with a shot like that. And it's 4-on-3 now. What will the 36ers do? The pass lands at Davis's feet. And a big slap across from Glenn Ellis, but the ball goes out of court, and so it'll be the West End 36ers taking it from the side. They lead by 39 points with a minute and a half to go.
And the game firmly in control. 36ers, Davis decides to go one-on-one, push one in off the glass. It's a good, strong rebound. Down to Fitzsimmons, takes him along to 22 points. And as we keep saying, Fitzsimmons scoring fairly freely at this stage. Green outside again to Ray Wood, and off with that outside shot.
Lovely move if it could have worked, but Wood missed with the shot, but he's still got the ball, tries the up and under, just doesn't give it enough air, and once again Perth come away with the ball. This time it's Ellis attempting the three-pointer. Got one in the groin for his troubles. A lovely pass from Ray Wood to Green. What will he do? 1-2, and comes right out back to the centre circle. And I thought Davis for a minute there was going to have a shot. And really, the West End 36ers have played with Perth tonight. Jay Brayman could not do a thing with his side. They played their hearts out, but not well enough, I'm afraid, for this side that leads the NBL. As Bill Jones says, get out of the way, Bergerson. I'm going to put this one in the basket. 26 seconds to go, 122-83.
Yes, Jay Bremer's had no answer. Clearly the skills of the 36ers far exceed those of the Perth Wildcats, and the 36ers have this game completely in control, and this is one of the reasons why Al Green on the fast break lays the ball up. The 35 points to Al Green as the crowd count down the shot clock. Long shot that does not even hit the ring, and it's the West End 36ers 124 defeating the Perth Wildcats on 83.
Yes, a great game of basketball and a good win to the West End 36ers. Another sellout crowd, and the West End 36ers win their 11th game of the season.
in what would have to be one of the best displays of basketball skills we've ever seen in Adelaide. The home side led from the outset, with Green playing his best offensive game for the year. Dwayne Nelson and Bill Jones patrolled the boards well, and the 36ers just outgunned the Perth side. And of course, congratulations to Ray Wood, who notched up his 2,000th point in the NBL competition. And a nice touch by coach Ken Cole was the fielding of Scott Ninnis, who made his debut in tonight's game. Dwayne Nelson ensured himself of a position in next week's games by bagging 8 of his 10 shots and taking 15 rebounds. With comments from the coaches, we now join Andrew Kay and Lynn Parnell.
Ken, that wasn't a good performance, that was a brilliant performance.
I thought everybody played very well. We had our best trainings for the year this week, and the local season's over and everybody's down to business, so I thought I was fairly impressed.
Where'd you get this bloke called Dwayne Nelson? He's been with the side all year. You started him tonight and he was brilliant.
Well, I think he's earned it. He's been training tremendously well all year, and he's got great work habits. He never complains, and he's been giving us good results in the games in very limited time, and I thought he's earned his time, and I think he proved it tonight.
And what about the performance of Ray Wood? 2,000 points in NBL history. That's a great effort.
It was nice to see that Ray got that, and everybody felt very happy for him.
And what about next week, Ken?
Next week, maybe the 2 most important games of the year, with Geelong and Coburg on the road. If we win them both, it'll be very hard to put out a first or second spot for the rest of the year. So they're very, very important games for us.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Jay Bramer, that was a sensational opening by the 36ers. Your guys just wouldn't have known what had hit them in that opening 5 minutes.
I'd say there's no question about that, and probably I would have said we didn't know the first 6 or 7 minutes. I thought we had a decent game plan. As you pointed out to me, I think we didn't expect the defense to be quite that aggressive. As you know, the 36ers had, now if this is possible, even a better game at our place than they played here tonight. And what I'm saying is, of course, Pierce was here, but I'd say this, they didn't miss him tonight. But I said at the time that the 36ers were the best team that I'd seen in the NBL at our place that particular night. And as much as I dislike saying it, not about the 36ers, but because it happened against our team, I'd have to say the same thing tonight.
Well, quite a wrap-up by the flamboyant Jay Bremer. Now to league results from right around Australia. And West Sydney 94 defeated Nunawading 76. Brisbane 93 defeated Canberra 90. Illawarra 87 defeated Perth 73. Hobart 130, a big win over Melbourne 109. Illawarra 100 defeated Brisbane 94. Sydney 170 defeated Geelong 112. Newcastle 100 defeated Nunawading 98. St Kilda 116, too good for Hobart 110. And in a fairly close one, Sydney 88 defeated Coburg 85. Looking at the top 6 placings, and Adelaide now clearly in front after losses by Brisbane, Geelong and Canberra, but they still fill the top 6 positions along with Illawarra and Coburg. Well, that concludes our coverage of basketball for tonight, but do join us next week when we bring you the match between the Newcastle Falcons and the Canberra Cannons. Until then, it's good night from 10 Sport.
Part 1 of the Mission Impossible episode The Contender is our final program for this evening. Coming up in just a moment.